What's up, guys? I hope everyone's having a great day and you're all doing well. Right, so in today's Division 2 video, we're going to talk about some buffs and reworks to exotic talents, backpack talents, and chest talents. And these updates are going to arrive sometime in April. So let's talk about it. Okay, so let's start off with the backpack talent, and I think it's only one backpack talent that they're going to be updating. The first one is Creeping Death. It's a pretty awesome talent. When you apply a status effect, it is also applied to all enemies within 5 meters of your target. Cooldown is 20 seconds. So I use this talent mostly on my status effect builds, as it says it has to be a status effect, and then everyone around in 5 meters will also be affected by that same status effect. So in the update, what they're going to do is when you apply a status effect, it's also applied to all enemies within 8 meters. Okay, so it's up from 5 meters, which is pretty awesome. So it means there's a bigger radius of the targets that are going to be affected by your status effect. And then the cooldown is going to be 15 seconds now instead of 20 seconds. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing this in a lot of status builds coming up after the update, which is pretty awesome. I'm definitely going to be using the updated version of this. Okay, so we're looking at body armor talents now, and the first one is Tag Team. The last enemy you have damaged with a skill is marked. Dealing weapon damage to that enemy consumes the mark to reduce active cooldowns by 4 seconds, and the cooldown is also 4 seconds. So you hit an enemy with a skill and they're damaged, and then once you do weapon damage to them, it will take away the mark and it will reduce your cooldowns of your skills by 4 seconds. Alright, so in the update coming, we have a rework. And the last enemy you have damaged with a skill is still marked, and then you deal weapon damage once again to the enemy will consume the mark to reduce active cooldowns by 6 seconds. So it's an increase of cooldowns from 4 seconds. So it means an extra 2 seconds will be shaved off your cooldowns on your skills. Okay, the cooldown for the talent is still going to be 4 seconds. Okay, and this does not consume mark if no skills is on cooldown. Alright, so that's pretty awesome. That's going to be a pretty good talent later on. Okay, so for the next body armor talent we have is Empathic Resolve. Repairing an ally increases their total weapon and skill damage by 3 to 15% for 10 seconds, 1 to 7% for yourself. Effectiveness increases by your skill tier. So in the update coming up, we have Repairing an ally increases their total weapon and skill damage by 3 to 15% for 20 seconds. So it's increased from 10 seconds, so it means a longer duration on that talent. Okay, still 1 to 7% for yourself. The developer also commented that it's currently difficult to keep a high uptime if there is a 4-man team. So if you're in a 4-man, it's pretty hard to keep the buff going on for a long time. So what they want to try and do is they want to kind of make it a bit better to compete with the True Patriot debuff. So that's pretty awesome. I think this talent has got a lot of potential later on. It's not something that I'd use personally, but probably on a skill build with a lot of repairing, this will be awesome. For the next talent we have is Reassigned, and this is getting a buff. But let's talk about it. Killing an enemy adds 1 round of a random special ammo into your sidearm. So you kill an enemy and you'll get your next round will be some random special ammo. Okay, and it's got a cooldown of 20 seconds. So in the update, we're going to get killing an enemy adds 1 round of a random special ammo into your sidearm, which is normal. And then cooldown is going to be reduced to 15 seconds. Okay, down from 20. So it's pretty much just a cooldown of the actual skill. So you'll be getting more special ammo more frequently. The next talent we have is Tamper-Proof, and Tamper-Proof enemies that walk within 3 meters of your hive, turret, or remote pulse are shocked. Arm time is 5 seconds. Cooldown per skill is 10 seconds. So when you throw your hive, if someone walks past it within 3 meters of your hive, they will be shocked. Okay, but it has an arm time of 5 seconds, which is the only part that I hate about this talent, is because you throw your hive and you're going to have to wait 5 seconds before that person is shocked. 5 seconds is a long time for your enemy to like run away or to move out the way or something like that, you know. So I find the talent pretty useless. And then it has a cooldown per skill of 10 seconds. So in the update coming, they have a rework. Enemies that walk within 3 meters of your hive, turret, or remote pulse are shocked. Okay, so that's normal. Arm time 2 seconds. Awesome. just what I was complaining about. Okay, the arm time was way too long, so it made the talent pretty much useless. So now 2 seconds, that you can work with. You can work with that. By the time you throw your hive, it's about 1 second. By the time it lands, for the other 1 second, boom, shocked, awesome. So I think that's perfect. And then increase cooldown per skill to 10 seconds, up from 5 seconds. Okay, so I'm not sure where they were going with that. I think that's a typo. Maybe that's something wrong, because clearly it states there increase cooldown per skill to 10 seconds, up from 5 seconds. It says cooldown per skill is 10 seconds already, so I'm not sure. I think that's just a typo. Maybe it'll change later. Okay, so the developer commented, even though we are adjusting NPCs not rushing towards skills as much, this talent gives players the ability to be more lenient when placing their skills to gain the effect. Okay, so as you know, a lot of times you place your skill and the NPCs will run towards them and destroy them. So they kind of working on that now, so that doesn't happen so often. So I'll be happy when I can see that happen, because my skills get destroyed way too quick. Alright, so moving on to our exotic talents. The first one is the Dodge City Gunslinger's Holster. So it has the talent Quick Draw. When your pistol is holstered, gain a stacking buff every 0.5 seconds up to 100. When you swap to it, your first shot consumes the buff and deals plus 10% damage per stack. Okay, so this takes about 50 seconds to stack up to 100. I've used this holster before. I try to make a build using it, and it's such a good talent, but it takes way too long to stack up. Okay, so 50 seconds is a long time before you can actually use your pistol and shoot with it. Okay, I did shoot a pistol. I shot the Liberty, and it did 11 million when this thing hit 100. So it does a lot of damage, but it just takes way too long, so it wasn't worth it. Right, so let's look at the updates. And the update, they're going to have reduced charge up time to 30 seconds from 50 seconds. Awesome. Great. I love that. 30 seconds is almost half the time to charge it up. It still takes a while to do that. So, I mean, you can run around with your 2 primary weapons and then change to your pistol later on. But you can work around with a pistol build on this. I'll try it out later and see if I can carry on with the build I was busy with when I made this the first time, and we'll see what happens. The developer commented this buff is to better compensate for the lack of brand bonus. Okay, so it doesn't have a brand bonus on this holster, so they're trying to buff it up a bit better so that it actually becomes a bit more useful than what it was before, or what it is now. Okay, so the next talent that's getting a buff is the Imperial Dynasty, and this is the Burn holster. While in combat, applies burn to the enemy closest to you within 20 meters. Cooldown is 40 seconds. Okay, so this is the burn holster where you get close up to somebody and they will burn if they are the closest towards you. So in the update, we're going to get reduced cooldown to 35 seconds, down from 40. Right, so it's going to get a bit of a buff, so it's going to be 5 seconds quicker to cool down and repeat its process again. So that's pretty cool, but it's a very toxic holster, especially in the DZ. So we'll see what happens with this one. So the developers commented this buff is to better compensate for lack of brand bonus. So once again, this holster doesn't have a brand bonus, so they're trying to buff it up a bit to compensate for that. The next talent exotic that we're going to get a buff on is the Sawyer's knee pads. Grace under fire. Cannot be staggered by explosions. Staying in cover without firing for 6 to 12 seconds. Provides damage immunity while aiming for 1 to 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure nobody uses these exotic knee pads at the moment, because cannot be staggered by explosions is pretty awesome. But staying in cover without firing for 6 to 12 seconds, I mean, who does stay in cover for 6 to 12 seconds unless you're using a skill build? Okay, and then it will only provide immunity for 1 to 2 seconds while you're aiming. So I find these exotic knee pads pretty boring and pretty useless at the moment. So let's see what they're going to do in the update. Cannot be staggered by explosions, so that's going to say the same. Ooh, this one looks good. Increase total weapon damage by 3% each second while you are not moving. Stacks up to 10 times, and stacks are lost when moving. So that's pretty awesome. So that means while you're still in cover, you can gain damage every second, and it can stack up to 10 times. So that's 30% extra damage if you're not moving. So this is definitely going to be a cover build, a build where you stay in cover. Okay, and the exotic can only provide defense attributes and no brand bonus. So it has defense attributes. As you can see, I have 170,000 armor, and but has no brand bonus once again. So now it has potential for high damage and makes it appeal to both red and blue builds. Okay, so this will work both for red and blue builds later on. But I'm really liking that 3% weapon damage. That 30% weapon damage actually if you have 10 stacks. So that's going to definitely be in a few of my builds later. The developer commented the old version didn't provide enough engaging gameplay. This change could help with that. Yes, definitely it's going to help with that. I think that was a good change that was well needed on these knee pads. I'm looking forward to using these. Alright, so onto our exotic gun talents that are going to get reworks and buffs. And the first one is the Diamondback exotic rifle. Let's see, agonizing bite. Diamondback randomly marks an enemy. Hitting that enemy consumes the mark, guaranteeing a critical hit with damage amplified by 20%. A random enemy is marked afterwards and whenever you reload. Okay, so this Diamondback rifle, I don't see it a lot happening in PvE or PvP. It feels pretty bland and not so great. I mean, it only gives you, it marks an enemy. That's the part I don't really like. It just randomly marks enemies. Sometimes it marks people that are far away from you, not the closest to you. So it's very inconsistent and it's not very enjoyable to use. It guarantees a critical hit, so you specifically have to go and shoot specific targets that are marked to get a critical hit and get amplified damaged, and that just doesn't really work all the time. So it's not a great rifle at the moment. Let's see what they're going to do with it. It gets a rework. Now grants all shots guaranteed critical hits for 5 seconds after hitting a mark. So that's pretty not bad. So it means once it marks the target, and you shoot that target, and then it will guarantee critical hits for 5 seconds. So if I shoot my target that's marked, and then whoever else I shoot afterwards will also get critical hits. So it's not bad. You could probably work around that and work with that. That's actually not bad. The developer commented, the Diamondback is underperforming and this change could make the bonus a bit more exciting. I'm sure it can. It's not that exciting. Reading it now, it's just, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's great. You'd have to put it to a test to really see that. But okay, I think it's better than what it was. Okay, and for the last exotic that's got to get a buff, the Merciless. Right, this is also another exotic rifle that's been underperforming lately. So let's see, binary trigger. This weapon fires on trigger pull and release. If both bullets hit the same enemy, gain a stack. At 7 stacks, shooting an enemy creates a 7-meter explosion, dealing 900% weapon damage, consuming the stack. So this rifle sounds awesome, but it doesn't perform as it should, I think. 900% weapon damage sounds like a crap load of weapon damage, but it just doesn't feel like it's performing that well. So I'm not so happy about that part. Let's see what they do in the update. Explosion damage increased to 1200%, up from 900. Okay, so that's getting an explosion damage increase, a buff on that. That could potentially make this weapon a bit OP. You'd have to test it out later. I'll definitely give it a test when they update this. I can't really say now what's it going to do with the damage side of things. For now, it does an okay amount of damage that will pretty much buff it up nicely. We'll give it a try when it's actually the update gets released. Alright everyone, so that's pretty much it. So a few things got buffed and these updates will be implemented sometime in April with tile update 8.5. So I'm looking forward to that, and there should be some more updates coming as well. But I'd like to see a bit more exotics being buffed. I feel like a lot of them aren't being used right now in builds, and there's a lot of talents that just don't get used. It'll be nice to see a bit more improvements on those side of things. There's a lot of updates that need to be done to the game, a lot of glitches, a lot of bugs that need to be fixed as well. So we'll see what happens with tile update 8.5. Okay, but other than that, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like this and comment on it. Tell me, guys, what do you think, which talents do you think should get buffed or nerfed? Let me know down in the comments below. And once again, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.